It didn't like how Shedeur interviewed. He said some things he should not have said, and he will tell you that to this day. I got a little carried away. But he's as tough a kid, tough a quarterback as I've ever seen. His arm is at least as good as Brady's. It's Brady-esque.
You guys act like a fifth-round pick is a punishment.
Okay.
It's an opportunity. I've never seen anybody talk this much about a fifth-round pick, ever.
Because he's not a real.
Picture this. You finally land your golden quarterback, polish him up like a diamond, and then bam! He vanishes faster than rent money on the first of the month. That's exactly the circus the Cleveland Browns just walked into with Shedeur Sanders. And Kevin Stefanski, he's one meltdown away from launching his headset straight into Lake Erie. This isn't just a football story, it's a full-blown soap opera with shoulder pads. Why did Shedeur walk away? And did the Browns just lose their future superstar? Or dodge a disaster that could have wrecked their whole season? And let's be real, Stefanski isn't just mad, he's furious. The type of furious where you can picture him storming through the Browns facility, rocking that same eternal grumpy math teacher look he's been wearing since 2020. In his mind, Shedeur Sanders leaving isn't just a roster change, it's the end of the world. Forget global crises. Stefanski's doomsday is a 22-year-old quarterback refusing to sign up for what many are calling the league's dullest offense. Fans say his playbook doesn't even look like football. It looks like the NFL's saddest PowerPoint slideshow ever created. Nobody was shocked when Shedeur took one look at what Stefanski dares to call a playbook and said, "Yeah, no, I'm good." This is a coach who has somehow turned the Browns' offense into the football version of cardboard. So bland it makes plain oatmeal look like a five-star steak dinner.
That Kevin Stefanski is saying and the way he's going about things, some things are just not.
Stefanski has a rare gift. He can squeeze the excitement out of a game faster than you can say 3 and out. Word is Shedeur stepped into Berea, saw Stefanski actually sketching up a 3rd and 8 run straight into a stacked box, and immediately started pulling up his transfer forms like a freshman, realizing his new roommate practices the accordion at 3 a.m. But here's the real kicker. Stefanski being furious is hilarious. This man has spent years looking like the human version of beige wallpaper. Nobody even knew he had feelings. His entire coaching vibe has been one long monotone. We'll have to look at the tape. So imagining him storming around like he just lost a winning lottery ticket over Shedeur Sanders not wanting to throw checkdowns until retirement age, that's pure comedy gold. And let's not act brand new, because Stefanski's quarterback history is tragic. He treated Baker Mayfield like an old toy and benched him into the shadows. He sold the city's soul for Deshaun Watson, then acted surprised when Watson came back looking rustier than a '98 Chevy. And Joe Flacco.
Shedeur Sanders ended the game. The offensive coordinator must have went to sleep or something. Straight up like that. I don't know what happened, what was going on. Or the receiver coach took over the play calls for the first time in his career. Things changed for the offense when Shedeur Sanders came into that game. All of a sudden, when Shedeur enters the game, the Browns are a pass-first team, run second. I sure didn't like the sequence of play calling when Shedeur Sanders entered the game. Pass first, run second. That is never the Cleveland Browns model. And to me, that play calling was done in.
Flacco made Stefanski look like a genius for 3 weeks, but that was less coaching magic and more pure football chaos. It almost feels like the football gods are trolling Cleveland just for laughs. Now here comes Shedeur Sanders, the flashy, confident son of Dayon, a quarterback with swagger, a rocket arm, and actual personality. The exact type of player Kevin Stefanski can't stand, because in Stefanski's dream world, the perfect QB is basically a mannequin who nods politely, says, "Yes, sir," and dumps 3-yard outs on command. You knew this was doomed from the start. Picture it. Shedeur hears Stefanski roll out his same dry discipline and execution speech and immediately thinks, nope, no way he's spending his 20s trapped in an offense that looks like it was cooked up in Microsoft Excel. And Browns fans, they've seen this show before. They've watched Stefanski chew through quarterbacks faster than Cleveland churns out New Jersey redesigns. The signs were clear. You built a system where creativity flatlines, where QBs spend more time checking down than chasing touchdowns. Cleveland football under Stefanski has looked less like a game and more like a funeral march, with the occasional field goal just to remind folks it's technically still football. So why act shocked? Shocked that a kid raised by Shedeur Sanders wants no part of that snooze fest? Think about it.
I'm sickened and I'm saddened. By the way, Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
Going from Deion, a coach who struts into press conferences in shades, dripping charisma and flexing rings, to Stefanski, who gives off the vibe of a guy asking where the lumber aisle is at Home Depot. The downgrade is insane. That's like being the lead singer of a wild rock band, and then somebody invites you to join a church choir where the only song on repeat is row, row, row your boat. Of course, Shedeur's out. And Stefanski's reaction, he's pacing halls, muttering about commitment and team-first mentality, like his own play calling hasn't been 4 straight years of pure torture for Browns fans. Let's not forget, this is the same coach who looked at Nick Chubb, one of the deadliest running backs alive, and thought, you know what this offense really needs? More Joe Flacco. And credit to Flacco, dude looked like a dad pulled from the stands, still managed to sling it and play hero ball. But then Stefanski remembered, he hates joy. He hit the brakes and buried everything under his trademark safe plays. This man has a personal vendetta against quarterbacks showing any spark of excitement. Shedeur never stood a chance in that system. But here's where it gets wild. This isn't just about Shedeur walking away. It's a neon billboard screaming, Cleveland's biggest curse. Kevin Stefanski is allergic to energy, allergic to risk, allergic to fun. His philosophy is stuck on repeat. 3rd and 9, hand off a draw play. Down 2 scores, trust the defense. This is the exact mindset that gets you bounced from the playoffs quicker than a drunk karaoke singer getting booed off stage. And now he's furious? That's the funniest twist of all. For years, Stefanski has hidden behind that calm, steady hand on the wheel act. But the mask is slipping, and all it reveals is a coach whose highlight reel would have been a 5-yard out to David Njoku, and he'd call that a win. If Shedeur had stayed, he'd be the fall guy every time Stefanski dialed up a punt on 4th and 1 at midfield. His confidence would have been chipped away piece by piece until he looked like every other ghost of Browns quarterbacks past. Guys who came in with hope and walked out looking like survivors of a battle no one wanted to fight. Honestly, Shedeur should send Stefanski a thank you card because his stubborn system just saved him from a wasted career. Now Stefanski's back to his so-called drawing board. And what is that exactly? Probably just a pile of napkins with "Establish the run" scribbled across them in Sharpie. This is a man who still thinks dominating time of possession in 2025 is some groundbreaking philosophy. You know who else controls time of possession? Struggling high school teams that don't trust their quarterbacks. But sure, let's run that back again. And Browns ownership, they'll keep backing Stefanski. Why? Because he's mastered the art of looking professional while serving up mediocrity. He wears the headset, keeps the straight face, avoids throwing tantrums on the sideline, and somehow convinces them every season, this time it'll work. Meanwhile, quarterbacks like Shedeur are looking around and realizing they don't need to sacrifice their careers in Cleveland.
They don't want Shedeur Sanders, and it's evident now. It's very, after today, it's very, but now we definitely see that the coach is not on.
And here's the real translation. Stefanski doesn't want quarterbacks. He wants robots. And Browns fans, bless their hearts, they'll buy into it for a week. They'll hype up the next guy, the next rookie, the next journeyman, convincing themselves someone can finally survive Stefanski's system. And when he calls another run on 3rd and long, they'll still cheer like it's genius. Browns fans will clap and pretend punting from the opponent's 45-yard line is some kind of brilliant strategy. But deep down, they know it's only a matter of time before the cycle repeats itself. So yeah, Stefanski is furious, but let's be real, he should actually be thankful. Shedeur Sanders just said out loud what everyone else has been too polite to admit. Kevin Stefanski's offense is quarterback repellent. It's not a system where talent shines, it's a graveyard where it goes to stagnate. And if Stefanski doesn't evolve, if he doesn't finally let a quarterback breathe and play, he won't just lose players, he's going to lose his job. This isn't just about Shedeur walking away, it's the continuation of Cleveland's longest-running tradition, finding new and creative ways to ruin quarterbacks. The Browns are like a black hole for QBs. You come in full of light and hope, and then Stefanski shows up with his laminated play sheet and poof, you're swallowed into eternal darkness. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie, a veteran, or a guy dragged out of retirement, he'll treat you the same. Clamp down on your creativity, play it safe, then look shocked when the offense crawls like it's stuck in quicksand. Stefanski is basically a chef handed 5-star ingredients, and every single time he insists on cooking instant ramen. No flavor, no flair, no soul. And yet, Cleveland keeps eating it up. Shedeur was never going to shine in that setup. How could he? Imagine trying to bring Deion Sanders' flash, swagger, and fearless risk-taking into an offense where the highlight is a perfectly executed screen pass. That's like putting nitrous in a minivan. It makes no sense. Stefanski probably watched Shedeur sling deep bombs and thought, how do I shut that down immediately?
Is stupid. It's an ill-conceived plan.
Really?
And no. And the Browns still, first of all, there never was a 4-man competition. Never. Shedeur was never in the competition. And if that's how the Browns see it, rightfully so. Why'd you do?
That's his twisted gift. He takes excitement and swaps it for boredom. And let's get real. What exactly is Stefanski furious about? Is he mad at Shedeur for protecting his career? Or is he secretly mad at himself? Because deep down, he knows the truth. The only quarterbacks who stay under him are the ones who don't have better options. It's the bad boss syndrome, wondering why all the good employees keep quitting when the real problem is you. Players break their backs, fight for field position, and what does Stefanski dial up at midfield? A 2-yard run into a brick wall. If I were Shedeur, I wouldn't just leave. I'd sprint out of Cleveland and never look back. And here's the kicker. Other teams are watching this saga and cracking up. Picture it. Shedeur Sanders hits the open market and suddenly franchises across the league perk up like hungry wolves circling fresh prey. Meanwhile, the Browns are stuck clutching Stefanski's laminated play sheet, wondering why the party ended before it even started. You can bet early teams like the Falcons or Vikings are already sketching up ways to unleash Shedeur's cannon of an arm, while Stefanski's big plan would have been, let's see if he can hand the ball off 50 times. That right there tells you everything. The funniest part is Stefanski's total inability to read the room. He still thinks his outdated system is the star of the show. He's convinced the secret to winning is discipline, repetition, and making sure quarterbacks never step out of line. But the league has moved on. The NFL today is built on creativity, explosions, and letting stars cook. And Stefanski's still out here treating the game like it's 1995. And don't even get Browns fans started on his game management. Every single one of them can name a Stefanski moment that made them scream at their TV, burning unnecessary timeouts, settling for field goals instead of touchdowns, dialing up random draw plays at the absolute worst time. It's like he's doing improv comedy, except no one's laughing because it's wrecking real games. So when Stefanski acts furious about Shedeur leaving, the irony is priceless. He's been coaching like the quarterback doesn't even matter, and now one finally agrees with him by walking away, and he's shocked. You built a system designed to erase individuality, Kevin, and now you're mad someone refused to vanish into it? That's like building a haunted house and being upset when people run out scared. Here's the brutal truth. Stefanski peaked with one playoff win over the Steelers, and he's been milking that memory ever since, like a washed-up rock star singing his one-hit wonder from 20 years ago. He struts into meetings like he's cracked the code, when in reality defenses solved him a long time ago, and quarterbacks have realized they don't want to be his lab rats. Shedeur leaving is just the loudest example yet, and Browns fans, bless their loyal hearts, will still find ways to defend Stefanski. They'll say, well, we made the playoffs, or we had injuries, or the classic line, at least he's stable. Stable? Stable is fine if you're running a horse ranch, but in the NFL, stable without results is just boring. That mindset keeps you locked in mediocrity forever. Never bad enough to rebuild, never good enough to actually win. That's the Stefanski special. Meanwhile, Shedeur now gets to explore real opportunities. Maybe he finds a coach who actually understands quarterbacks, a system that lets him sling the ball, take risks, and grow into the star he's supposed to be. Imagine Shedeur in a vertical passing offense, encouraged to attack downfield instead of being chained to endless checkdowns. That's the setup where his talent explodes. And the comedy here writes itself. A young quarterback leaves because he wants to actually play football, and the coach is furious, as if Shedeur was supposed to be grateful for spending Sundays dumping 3-yard outs until his spirit evaporated, like this was some kind of honor instead of a punishment disguised as a career opportunity. So yes, Stefanski is furious. And honestly, good. Stay furious. Because maybe, just maybe, it'll finally force him to admit his so-called system isn't the untouchable masterpiece he thinks it is. For Shedeur, this move is freedom from a scheme built to drain quarterbacks dry. For Stefanski, it's just another excuse he can point to when his offense sputters into the same old mess. Well, you know we had a plan, but Shedeur didn't buy in. Classic Stefanski, always with the built-in safety net to protect himself. At the end of the day, the Browns are still the Browns. They'll hype up the next guy. They'll convince themselves Stefanski is the steady hand, and then they'll sit back and watch the same old offense grind away like a busted treadmill going nowhere. Meanwhile, Shedeur will probably be laughing from a distance, thankful he escaped before becoming just another name scribbled on Cleveland's cursed quarterback jersey. And that's why Stefanski's fury is hilarious. It's not just anger, it's insecurity. Deep down, he knows quarterbacks don't trust his system anymore. He knows fans are starting to see through the act. And worst of all, he knows the clock is ticking louder every single week. Shedeur may have left on his own terms, but soon enough, Stefanski won't get that luxury. When the Browns finally pull the plug, maybe, just maybe, they'll give their quarterbacks a real chance to play football instead of forcing them into this beige disaster disguised as an offense. If you rocked with this breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll catch you in the next one.